If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, and a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Good job, Vinny. Okay, can you just say this guy's name for me?
Israel.
I believe he's Hawaiian.
Kanoai Kamakawiwoʻole.
But what do I know? I thought both Buddhists were the same. May 20th, 1959. Yeah, the happy one and the one suffering underneath the tree. May 20th, 1959 to June 26, 1997. Oh, wow. He was kind of a recent thing. 59. Just 97. But he died young. Also called Brudda Is, or just simply Is, was a Hawaiian musician, I was right, singer, songwriter, and Hawaiian sovereignty activist. He achieved commercial success outside Hawaii when his album Facing Future was released in 1993. His melody of Somewhere Over the Rainbow and What a Wonderful World was released on his albums Can you say
Ke'anoi
and Facing Future, and was subsequently featured in several films, television programs, and television commercials. The song spent 185 weeks on top of the World Digital Songs chart.
That's crazy.
Making it the longest leading #1 hit on any of the Billboard song charts. What a Wonderful World was originally recorded by Louis Armstrong in 1967. Over the Rainbow was written for the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz, and sung by actress Judy Garland in her starring role as Dorothy Gale. It won the Academy Award for Best Original Song and became Garland's signature song. Along with his ukulele playing, and incorporation of other genres such as jazz and reggae. Can you say his name again?
Kanoi.
That's much longer than what you just said. Remains influential in Hawaiian music and is seen by many as the best Hawaiian musician of all time.
Whoa!
I think most everyone has heard this, but it's epic and
We'll be the judge of that.
And more than worthy of a place in the stream. He became a Christian and was baptized in 1996, a year before he passed away. Wow.
There we go. We're slowly but surely taking over. We had Louis Armstrong, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Let's check it out. Oh, sorry, wrong one, guys. Here we go. Somewhere Over the Rainbow and What a Wonderful World. Let's go.
Oh, yes. Have you heard this?
No.
Oh, yes.
You've heard this one?
Yeah. I had the this on loop for a while.
This is Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
You know, I want you to see him.
That's him?
Yeah. Yes, Corey Martin it is.
Dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I? Trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself,
It's a different song.
Yeah,
what
he's
a
mashed them together.
wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue, and I see clouds of white, and the brightness of day. I like the dark, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking and singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where
I think that was his ashes.
find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't I?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I went through a phase where I was listening to his music with that Hallelujah song. And I can't remember whose version of it. There was a couple different versions that I really liked, but I can't remember which ones.
Oh man, that Middle was saying that thing has like a close to a billion views on YouTube.
Right here.
That's over 1 billion views.
Yeah.
It's 1.2 billion.
Yeah, and he just looked like a really loved individual. Like, you saw all those people that came out for his.
Yeah.
You know, and like there's just so many different like clips. Like I had the official Somewhere Over the Rainbow part one playing on the screen over here. So we got to see him and we got to see all the people enjoying him and his music and stuff. It was just a really yeah. You know that what is that? That Disney cartoon Moa, something like that.
Yeah.
Like there's a character in there that always reminds me of him. He's like and he wears the same like similar necklace and stuff like that too. But yeah, that's a sad.
Yeah, I saw them pouring his ashes and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm not. To be honest, I'm not. The song didn't make me sad. Like, you know, obviously, you know, he's not here anymore, but I think about this shit every day for hours. Like, consciousness, and the more and more I think about it, the more and more, like, this world seems to be a very important stop. Mm-hmm. Extremely important stop. Maybe even the most important stop for the rest of our conscious experience, which I believe is going to go on forever. But it makes it hard to like confine yourself to only like this kind of world. It's hard to explain. So like I'm seeing him, he brought all those people joy. He died at a very, very young age. But his purpose was a million things, one of which was to give us this music to enjoy. You know, there's a lot of. I was at a conference one time, and they were talking about worship or something like that, and you know, guys like John Piper, things like that. You become an anti-materialist. You know,
Yeah.
almost like Gnostic, like everything material is bad. And so we were talking. The guy was talking about like how to. The first guy before him was talking about like how to have material things, but basically not enjoy them, but only use them to the glory of God, which sounds very, you know, hardcore reformed, right?
Gosh,
We're gonna do it to the glory of God.
Yeah.
And then the next guy started talking. He goes, you know, when I buy my kids a bike, I like the initial burst, and the kid says thanks, Dad, and hugs your knee, right? And then he goes, and then I want them to get on the bike, and I don't want to see them again for the rest of the day. I want them out in the neighborhood, doing wheelies, all types of shit. And then when you get home, whatever. He's like, he basically was like, stop being so spiritual about shit. Like, of course, thank God, but then
Go enjoy.
The thing that you thanked him for, go enjoy it. And he doesn't want to see you until... It'd just be weird if your kid is riding a bike and every 2 seconds they stop to thank you for the thing that they thanked you about 2 seconds ago. Like... So he's like, we're not really treating God as if he's a father. Mm-hmm. Like, you're treating him like he's a God and not a father. Because you don't relate to your dad that way in a healthy relationship. Right. So, of course, there's spontaneous moments where you're just randomly sitting there and your kid goes, thanks for doing that, even though they already thanked you for that. And that's great. But, like, this thing where, like, we're not going to enjoy anything because, you know, we're spiritual people, I think is ridiculous. It's like...
Yeah, it's weird because some people look at that as spirituality. Like, you're miserable, you're serious, you're really focused on it, missing the entire point. Like, I think that spirituality is bound up so much in joy and expectation and finding the meaning in things that are smaller or the things that are much overlooked.
Yeah.
Like the person that can stop and stare at a tiny little flower, like that to me is a big part of spirituality, like looking at all of that and understanding where that came from.
And so I think like the pagans like have that
Yeah.
aspect figured out. They have the nature aspect, but they also have the like, hey, skull, and there's sometimes we're just gonna get fucked up, and like that was in the Bible. You want strong drink, go for it. At certain times, like there were certain festivals where it was like, man, go for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now, like, we've gotten this, like, strange, like, monk sort of, like, monk-type Christianity where... I know that all the... Like, I'm at a place where I don't believe that physical matter actually truly exists, you know, outside of an observer. I don't believe that. But at the same time, I say, okay, that's true. But that means that if there is something like taste... or there are things like touch that feel a certain way and things like that, then God has given us that illusion and that fiction for a reason. I'm still experiencing it. So he wants me to have that experience. And so, obviously, when God gets detached completely from the experience, where God's over here, the experience is over here, then I would say as a Christian that's not good. But, like, I'm listening to this guy with his music. Very simple. I'm watching the videos of him. 98% of the time he's smiling, having fun, and then it just seemed like he was kind of like the sun, and everybody around him was like hit, and like you couldn't be miserable around this dude. Okay, well, God's gonna give people like that to you for about 40 years and then take it back. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a once in a... If you got somebody like that, and you fucking enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but songs like that, I'm so grateful that you put the video out there, like it, because I'm obviously
I've seen
inclined.
It before. You'd appreciate.
I'm inclined to look at the darker side of things. I'm inclined to look at the, play minor key. Like looking at how happy that guy made everybody or whatever. I'm like, yo. At the end of the day, like, we had this conversation about a previous song. It's like, we're not seeing reality anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that that's dangerous. This night is putting me. It has put me on a thought path that's probably going to take me 3 years to really extrapolate. But that song, and then this song, and then being able to watch the videos that you had on the side, has been extremely impactful to me.
I think the other thing too is that, like, when Jesus was talking about like spirituality and faith and stuff, and he compared some of it to being like a child, and like a lot of times people will be like, oh well, kids are quick to forgive, and that's what we should be quick to forgive. And I'm not saying that that's not that's not a part of it, but I also think that part of it is just the simple joy that kids have in very, very simple things. Like, I saw somebody's post today and they were like, that part of being a parent is realizing that all the trash in your house is actually a makeshift toy that the kid can't separate himself from. Like Dorian, when he was a kid, like somebody bought him this really expensive toy and he didn't care about the toy. He cared about the parts of the box and the attachments that were around the toy. He had more fun with that than he did with the actual toy. And just like that joy in like simpler things. But I think that, the seriousness, all that stuff, like that's not childlike. Children are not, like, if you see a child that's constantly serious, people are like, there's a problem there. That kid's not okay.
Yeah.
Like a kid should be able to be joyous and, so I think that people can abandon that in their spirituality or think that that's more spiritual. But Jesus himself said that wasn't.
Yeah.
That's not how it should be.
Yeah. 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 That's interesting. Rejoice is the most repeated word in the Bible, Sean says. So, rejoice is the most repeated word, and the most repeated command is do not be afraid. It's like, don't be afraid.
Stop being scared and just have fun.
Don't be afraid, rejoice. That's another 4 hours of things to think about. But yeah, that song is a whole other track now that I have to follow, and on it's like a knotted ball untied. Anyway, it's gonna take me about 3 years to untie it. Okay, I really enjoyed these songs.
I like the mashup of the two songs together. Also, excuse me, this one's a 10 for me.
Sean says, these times are really trying. I'm not sure what's coming next, but I can't wait to face the next day and its adventure because it's got to be better than the last day. Mashallah, that's a good way to look at it, my guy. What did you give it?
I give it a 10.
I've
listened to this song a bunch of times.
I give this an 11. I thought this was a really interesting rendition, and Middle Earth, this was one song, bro. Okay, but I thought it was such a good rendition of those two classic songs, and I just really like the videos. I enjoy, because even when they were pouring out his ashes, like they were still, it was like that spirit was there, that happiness that he brought was still there, and
yeah, the people were like happy. They were out in the water. The sun. They had these big things that were saying he's alive. It was just, I don't know. It was just cute. Like,
I think sometimes when I really sit and think about it at night, I'm like, yo. I think about the experiences I've had in my life, like when I've been at the highest, or I'll watch, like, list. I was talking to a friend about a certain moment that he was part of that was like historical and like massive, and like I was having this moment with this dude, like, yo, like this 30-second clip changed the entire trajectory of my life. Like my kids, everything, like hinged on that moment, and you were a part of that. And it was kind of like a holy shit, man. Like for him, it was just like, yo, look at all these people, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like we had no idea who we were. I didn't even know what his name was when I was seeing him. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, yo. But that experience was just so powerful that it set the course of my entire life. So I'm like, damn. And then I think to myself, when you close your eyes for the last time here, like, I'm so sure that this is definitely not the end. That we're gonna be, everybody is going to be. Now, obviously, you know, I'm gonna say you want to be on the right side of the mind at large, or God, whatever you want to call the being that originated all of us. Like, you want to be on the right side of it, but the more I'm like studying all these like famously intelligent people, genius level people. I'm like watching like Einstein talk about like the things that popped in his mind that put him on the track for relativity. And watching a mathematician like break down the actual formula for relativity. Like the actual math, and explaining how math relates to, and there's so many depths, there's so many levels of math that you have to understand before the thing even becomes legible. So just sitting there and watching, I'm like, these guys are so, but then at the same time watching him say, yeah, like this popped into my head. Or Tesla, the same thing. Like, these are the most brilliant people on the planet. This just popped into my head. And then I'm like, yo, we are truly going to have ever increasing, amazing experiences that are going to be never ending and always positive, the vast majority of us. And I'm like, yo, the idea that that's actually true, that is really true, that like 10 million years from now, I truly believe, as much as I'm sitting next to you, I'm going to be with Middle Earth, like checking out some galaxy, doing some shit I don't know, or in some woods somewhere with Kai, but we'll call it something else in another star system. Like, this shit is like unbelievable privilege to exist and then to interface with other people that are having similar experiences to us. It's insane. It's insane to me. So,
Right, because nobody's having the same experience. Similar.
yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, so that's what the song meant to me. It carried a lot of weight for me because if a person could say, okay, you could have two worlds. You could have one world where you have no desire and no pain, or you can have another world where you go through a temporal experience of pleasure mixed with pain, so that you could be set on for an infinite time period of ever increasing pleasures. Which would you prefer?
You think anybody would pick?
I think a lot of people would pick A.
What?
Because this little
Why?
because this little slice of
You
time,
feel nothing?
This little slice of time is all we know.
You
So
feel
people-
nothing?
people are
That's-
trying to-
That's when you're numb because you've too much has happened to you and you're trying to like cope and get through. You get numb. It's not like you're like, yay, this is a cool feeling. That's when people start doing crazy shit, cutting themselves and all kinds of things to feel something because they felt nothing. I think that, I don't know. I mean, whatever. You're the human nature guy. I just think that's crazy that people, I don't, you think a lot of people would pick that?
I think a lot of people would pick that. I think millions of people would pick that. I think that idea would become so popular that millions and millions of people would dedicate their lives to getting there. That's what I think. But here's the here's what I would say though. Here's what I would say though. The last thing I'd say is that the reason anybody would pick A is because we don't believe that B is possible. So it's a sort of a defense mechanism. If we all thought B was possible, I agree with all of you that most of us would probably pick B. But I think most of us are looking at things and going, B is not possible. B is not real. What's real is pain. So I'm going to go for that.
I think even if you say, cut off the end and you have intermittent pain and joy in one, or you feel nothing in one, I think most people are going to pick pain and joy.
Well, I didn't say nothing. I just said the cessation of desire. That doesn't mean you don't feel anything. So, like, if you're not necessarily,
if you don't desire anything, you can't. How can you really have?
You could still feel
excitement and joy about it.
For example, if you're not hungry, that means you don't desire food, but you can still eat and taste.
Yeah, but I mean,
you just don't enjoy it as much.
That pizza tastes way better when you were hungry to begin with.
Well, again,
and so does that glass of water.
My point is, you're coming from a Western romantic standpoint, but there's lots of people on the Eastern side of the world that would say, well, of course. Like you're trying to get rid of all your desires. That doesn't mean that you don't feel anything. It just means that you don't have a desire for anything, which would make you a completely independent being. In most Buddhist cosmology, there is a God realm where beings know nothing but pleasure, but it's considered a bad thing because there's no drive for enlightenment there. It's the same thing with my Bhakti yoga friend. Like there are planets that are nothing but joy, but it's bad in that perspective because you're not serving Krishna. Mm-hmm. You're just enjoying Krishna. You're not serving him. And to them, to the Bhakti practitioners, serving Krishna is the ultimate, not your senses of pleasure. But anyway, I really, really, really enjoyed the song. It was really, really good. It's an 11 for me. Would you give it?
I'm gonna match you with an 11.
Rest in peace to the homie.
Yeah.
He would not trade places with us right now, that's for sure. So good for him. Until I see you guys, here, there, or in the air. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. Shout out to Negative Vibes in Middle Earth. What a freaking challenging stream, philosophically speaking. Holy smokes. All right, guys. Much love to all you.